In every corner of the world, voices travel through invisible highways of code and light. We share. We learn. We dream. But in the shadows of this vast, connected world, something else stirs. Silent watchers. Hidden traps. Lies dressed as truth. Every click, every swipe, leaves a trace, a footprint, and sometimes a target. But we are not powerless. We can learn the language of the digital realm. We can read the signs, hear the warnings, and guard what matters most. Welcome to the Watchtower, a place where we rise above the noise, where we see the dangers before they strike, where every citizen becomes a guardian, not just of their own digital life, but of the community we all share. This is the beginning of your watch, the Digital Watchtower. Observation, awareness, protection. From the Watchtower, every horizon looks different. Some see only the dangers. Others see only the promise. But a true guardian sees both. Dr. Mariam Timitayo Ahmed has walked the corridors of the digital world in every form. As a teacher, a researcher, a mentor, and a relentless advocate for safety and inclusion. From Africa to the Middle East, from North America to every place where connection is life. She has stood with those seeking to understand, to protect, and to lead. She knows the terrain we all live in, the beauty of connection, and the shadows that hide within it. She has seen the scams that steal trust, the breaches that shatter livelihoods, and the silent watchers that move unseen. And still, she believes. She believes in the power of awareness, in the strength of community, and in the courage of ordinary people to become extraordinary guardians. Today, she stands here, not to speak at you, but to guide you. Through the coming months, she will take you beyond fear into understanding, beyond the noise into clarity, beyond the shadows into a place where you can see threats before they arrive and guard what matters most. This is your guide. This is your moment. Together, you will keep the watch.
All right, so I guess I can have the floor now. So welcome to our very first session of the Digital Tower. And today we are looking at understanding the cyberspace. And that is the terrain we all live in. In the next 1 hour, we would actually explore together what the cyberspace really means. What does it really mean that we live in the cyberspace? And why do you think the knowledge of the cyberspace is important to every one of us? How can we navigate it safely? If you care about your physical safety, then I guess you need to care about your safety in the cyberspace. So how can you live in the cyberspace safely and effectively? This particular presentation is for you, whether you're a student, you're a professional, you're a parent, you're a teacher. It's actually for every one of us. As long as you stay on this cyberspace, you use the internet, you are able to watch this program, you are able to join this program, whether you are actually joining live or possibly you're watching after any time, you are still definitely using the internet. And that makes you be part of this. So let's understand the world we live in together. Let's navigate through this presentation together. So for this presentation, here is the things I would like to cover. What is cyberspace, the components, We know we live over the internet. So once I protect a part of it, I mean, is it okay? Do I have to cover everything? And what are the key characteristics of the cyberspace, life in cyberspace, opportunities, risk, your role, the future of cyberspace? Yeah, this might look lengthy, but sure would all navigate through this, I mean, within few minutes. So let's quickly go to the definition. What is cyberspace? Some of us, we might look at cyberspace to be the internet. We might not be totally wrong, but it is not just the internet. It is the global system of interconnected networks, the devices, the software, and data, all being connected together to have what we call the digital interaction. That is what makes up our cyberspace. And when you think about the cyberspace, you need to look at it like an invisible landscape, a landscape that you can't really determine. I mean, what is there? Who is listening? Who is not listening? You might actually think you're talking to a person on the phone. But sorry, there's a third party. There's someone called the man in the middle who has intercepted your communication, right? So you have to think of this look at it from the invisible aspect of it, see it as an invisible landscape where possibly all our emails, our messages, our phone calls, your online payment, your social media posts. Yeah, some of us really love posting. And while you're posting, just look at it that, okay, fine. In another, let's say, 50 years to come, would I really want this to continue to be there? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Because remember, it is something that would keep being staying there. I mean, you might actually delete it. You're only deleting it from your own end, right? So once you have anything on the cyberspace, you actually know it's like this thing is actually there almost forever, right? And why do we have to think about it? We live in two realities, our physical one and the digital one. Physical one, we all see who is coming. Oh, be careful of that person. Have you seen the what is going on? It's like something you can see, something you can feel, so you could easily react, right? But in your digital world, I'm not saying this to scare anyone, but that's just the reality we live in. In your digital world, you don't even know. I mean, in most cases of attacks, the attackers would be in your environment for weeks, for years, for months without you even knowing. Yes. And what they're just trying to do is gather as much information as they can, right? But in your physical space, when someone intercepts, oh my God, it's like someone is around, right? So you can easily take caution. And the more reason why we have to really talk about the cyberspace, we need to let you know are what this word means. Your digital world, what does it mean? Our communication goes through this, our workspace, it's through this digital platform, our shopping, our social lives. Most of us, possibly, we are not with our families, right? And we feel cool, we feel good about that because we are able to communicate with them, I mean, via any possibly platforms. Is it through the WhatsApp, or is it through Facebook, through Instagram? We kind of know what is going on, right? So these are things that are deeply rooted in the cyberspace. So the more we understand it, the better equipped we are to benefit from it. And at the same time, we take advantage of it because, yes, it's a very beautiful space. It is, I mean, it is without the cyberspace, we won't be here. We won't be saying what we're saying right now, right? So we could. It is something that is so beautiful, but then we also need to protect ourselves from the risk. So as long as you are conscious of your physical world, you need to be conscious of your digital world. And while obviously we should also know that in reality, now we spend even more of our time, more of our conversations, more of our businesses in the cyberspace than even in the physical world, right? So with all this, it really makes it necessary for us to talk about this. And thank you very much for joining. I could see someone joining from University of Ilorin. Please, I would really appreciate if you can indicate if you're part of this program and let know where you are joining from. It's it gives me some kind of vibes to see that people are actually around, and it makes the communication more interactive. Yes. So Yeah, in understanding on our going back to our cyberspace, in understanding our cyberspace, we need to also look at the components, the component of our cyberspace. When some of us hear that the what is it called, the cyberspace, the internet, communication, what we care about is the last word, the data, personal information, your financial information, your corporate, and whatever information you're trying to keep right on the space. Yes, this is the most important component of the cyberspace, right? However, when it comes to you being aware, when it comes to you being careful, you need to know other components, right? Including your networks, your devices, you know, the software, the applications you're using. Why do you have to know all this? Okay. Why do we need to know, about the network? I'm not studying, computer science. I'm only just using the internet, right? So the networks, you have to know about the networks because these are the highways. They're like, you know, the road through which your data pass through. They carry the data from one point to another, from either the global internet to your private net to your private device or your private intranet. So even your your satellite, it goes through the network, so basically your network connects across the world. Then you have to secure your devices. This is also one point I really want to emphasize. you know when we think of cybersecurity, most times, I also say this in the class. you know most of us look at it from the technical aspect of it. Oh yeah, my phone is secured because I have my password, you know, so I could easily drop it anywhere. There's something we call physical security in cybersecurity. It is just as important as the technical security. Okay, your physical security, secure your physical devices, because some people, some cyber attacks, they are not actually interested in getting the information. They're interested in destroying the information. So in this case, if someone breaks your phone, and we are still going to talk about that. If someone breaks your phone or possibly someone sees the data, just make the data unusable for you. Break your laptop, just make that device unusable. Who would say that cyber attack has been successful? Yes. So you have to also know about your devices. Securing your phone with a password is not just enough for you to drop it anywhere. Okay, securing your laptops with pins with a password is not enough to just be careless with your devices, right? So the physical protection is just as important as the technical protection. So these are actually doors through which what we access the virtual world, and they are just as important as the data itself. So then talk about the software and applications. We all like free software, but somehow they all come at a price. Yes. So they all come at a price. When you have your free software, it's like, yeah, I'm good to go. This software is free. Why should I pay, so much for whatever, right? Yes, it is free, but by you using it, they actually have access to your information, to your personal information. So these are tools that we operate in cyberspace. Yes, you have to use software, but please let us stick to trusted software. The trusted software, and there's also something we would also talk about later. Before you even go into using a software on an application, you need to ask yourself, do I really need this? Not all softwares are for you. No matter how beautiful, how good the software is, you just don't have to jump onto every software. And yes, the most important part, which is the data. Data is indeed the currency of the cyberspace. Every click, search, your online purchase generates data. In fact, you might have noticed even your individual communication. You are not communicating on the phone. You are just talking to someone around you. And the next thing, you go into your Facebook or you go into your any social media, and the next thing, you start, bringing out different type of information. So we need to know that this information, your data is just that currency we need. At times you look at this software, the free software I mentioned earlier, what do they have stand to gain? They need that currency. They need your information. Just give me your email. Give me your information. Give me your date of birth. That is what an attacker needs. Okay, so let's look at it. The personal, your financial, organizational information, they are all stored and they are being exchanged, constantly. So they make that data what it is quite powerful and at the same time very vulnerable. It kind of makes us vulnerable. So we need to know this component and know how they actually would affect us. Now, the key characteristics of cyberspace. What makes the cyberspace what it is? One of the beautiful characteristic of cyberspace is being borderless. I call it beautiful. It has no physical boundaries, right? Thank you for joining. I could see Maria Mozigi is joining from United States. I could see another person joining from University of Ibadan. I could see another person from University of Technology Owerri. Just look how beautiful this is. Imagine if I had to come physically. I mean, how many places do I actually want to reach out to? But with the technology, with the cyberspace, I'm able to cover what a large area. So as beautiful as it is, would also look at that. It is very beautiful, right? Unfortunately, it has also posed a kind of challenge to cybersecurity experts. That is perimeter security. Now, it is beautiful because we could reach everywhere, right? However, just in the same way the cyber attacks can come from anywhere, it is not bounded, right? So, another key characteristic here is it is always on. Your cyberspace never sleeps. Your cyberspace is always available. The transactions are going on, communications are on, interactions happen like all the time, different time zones. It's not like, okay, fine, currently I'm actually at AM. Some people are actually in the PM. In the Asia, they actually are the PM, late nights, right? And irrespective, we can easily communicate. It is always on. It is beautiful. Everywhere you move to, you can actually what? See. You can connect this thing. So this also is another beautiful characteristic of the cyberspace. Then the fast paced. Things move like, very fast. It's rise. The trend is rise and die in hours. A rumor can spread to millions within minutes. And this spread has both benefit for innovation and also is a challenge for truth, right? We live in a world where, remember, we live in two worlds, the physical world and the digital world. If you think the digital world is not important, someone beside you in your physical world would tell you an information and you would actually try to confirm from your digital world. So tell me, which of this world do you think is important or is more important, right? It moves like, very fast. Like information is like, you need it, you get it, right? And this particular fast paced characteristic has been quite helpful with spreading information, right? Spreading information that are truth, that are fact. However, it has also become a challenge in stopping fake news, right? If I want to spread something that is not truth, is not the truth, all I need to do is bring up some algorithms, create some kind of movement, and interact more with my algorithm. And the next thing is everybody thinks it is fact. What makes it a fact? Can't you see it on this website? I also saw it on that website. This person made the same comment. Another person made the same comment. So information travels inward, like quickly, fast, so many ways. And with all this information, the secret is it helps to shape your thinking. Every one of us today, unfortunately or fortunately, has been affected with what we've read, what we've watched, what we've come across on the internet, right? So this information could be cooked up, it could be the truth, so we should always try to verify. And the last key characteristic I would like to talk about is interconnected. Everything in cyberspace is linked. A weakness in one system can open the door to others, right? Your phone, your email, your bank account. You can try to secure a part of your security, but another part is open. In security, we call these security onions. You know, initially we used to have something we call what? Security onions. And what is security onions? Security onions, just like we have in an onion, is like layers. You peel a particular layer before you get into the inner layer, right? So this used to be the hold method of security. Like, okay, when I have a lock, then I have another lock guiding it, then I have another lock, right? Like complex locks on top, in layers, then the inner data or the inner information looks secured. But unfortunately, again, that is not what we have now. The kind of cyberspace we have now, security onion doesn't work anymore. So what we have is security artichoke. Security artichoke simply tells you that a particular vulnerability, a particular weakness, irrespective of where it comes from. I don't have to wait for the inner door before I get to the innermost door. I just need an artichoke to be removed. And once that artichoke is taken away, it's like the whole information is compromised, right? So your email could be secured, but your bank account not secured. And I would have access to your email, have access to your phone number, have access to every other thing, right? So everything is interconnected. We cannot decide to compromise anything. It could also be in our homes. Okay, you have like possibly let's assume you have like 10 systems in your home, and you feel, oh yeah, at least 8 of them are secured. These other 2, they are not secured. Please, brothers, sisters, if you know these other 2 systems are not secured, the solution is don't ever let them go online. With that one unsecure system, you are compromising the whole system on the network. Okay, so as long as this interconnected has helped us, in our social lives and our experience sharing, so we should also understand that it also makes it it makes us more vulnerable. So, life in cyberspace, I wouldn't say much about this because these are things we do, right? So, the cyberspace has become a world on its own where our daily activities take place, right? We have our banking, our financial transactions, the e-commerce, right? We have all this done buying, selling online. E-commerce platforms rely on the trust and security. The only reason you're buying online is somehow you have that confidence in the system that this system is secured. Without that security, no one would want to buy. So you have some level of trust, right? So if that system of trust collapse, what do you think would happen, right? And some of us are so used to e-commerce now that honestly, I mean, I happen to be one of them. I find shopping, physical shopping, stressful, right? So e-commerce is something that has come to stay. Then remote work and learning, the remote working tools, the cloud systems, our virtual classrooms have all made it possible for us to work and also learn from anywhere. So anywhere we are, we actually find it easy to be what remotely connected. And like every other advantage of security, these are also brought in what some complex situations for us, because that is why, or that is what has actually brought a failure to another traditional method of security, which we call the perimeter security. Perimeter security is as long as you're in this building and this is a secured area, then I can be rest assured you're a good person. My system cannot be compromised, right? But with remote work and learning, someone in, let's say, in the United States could be working in a place with someone in Africa. And with that, they work like they are just within that building. They work like they're just present in that building using the VPN, the virtual private network, right? So with the VPN, it also poses what some level of what security. Though VPN also comes with its own security protocols, right? So this has also made security something that needs to be looked into, because we do not have a defined boundary for communication. Then digital entertainment. Yeah, when you look at entertainment now, everything has also gone digital, from the Netflix to our online gaming. Entertainment generally now has moved to the cloud. Talk about anything, and that's why we call it more like life in cyberspace. It's a different life on its own, right? So while it is fun and convenient for us to watch our Netflix online, what is the latest movie? Just go to Netflix, go to Amazon, you would watch it online, right? Online gaming, entertainment. This has also opened doors, for data collection and also for targeted advertising. So people can easily know, oh, this is what you are interested in. Your information are being collected. At times, we might look at it that why do they need this information, or possibly have I given them the right to this information? And that's part of what we'll talk about in our next episode, right? We'll be looking at the clicking. As long as you keep clicking, agreed. We click agreed without even much look on what is the agreement statement. We just want to say yes. I mean, all I need to do, because there's also something that we need to understand when it comes to security, is like a battle. Is like a battle between security and usability, right? As a user, what you would just want to do is, I need the software. I have to use it. It works for me. And I just want to, and every point of security is actually, are you really sure you want to use this thing? Are you sure you are the real person? And for the user, it's like, oh my God, too many questions. Please get it off. Just click yes, yes, yes. Your quick yes is good, right? As a user, but then it could also compromise your privacy, which we'll also be talking about later, So it could compromise your privacy. So there are a lot of opportunities in cyberspace, and the opportunities in cyberspace is just limitless. We all have access to information like we have now. You don't have to be physically present there to get the information. So is that just the engine that is driving the innovation in almost every sector today? Tell me about that sector that doesn't need the cyberspace. I mean, how do you even do it? How do you even exist in today's world? Right? So digital information, that is our, it brings about many of our breakthroughs that we use daily, from our online payments to our AI assistants, for people who are actually born in the, let's say maybe 2010 and upward. I'm sure they can't even imagine how some of us grew up. Like, oh my God, how did you even survive? I could remember some years back, possibly about let's say 15 to 20 years ago, you know, when browsing used to be like, you click, or possibly we used to use our normal phone. All the browsing we had was just on the phone. We receive our emails on this small, tiny phone. And I could remember how we had to apply for some of our admissions even outside the country. The reflection just came back, and I was like, wow, it's really been a long journey, right? So with digital space, that is actually where the real future is being built. So it has given us room for expansion. And that's also another characteristic. It is expandable. The future is limitless. And before I also forget this, because during the introduction, I could hear the voiceover say something about, oh, Dr. Mariam knows this. Yeah, I might know, but I am still learning. It's a moving vehicle, it's a moving train. Cybersecurity, if you meet any cybersecurity expert and tells you that, oh, don't worry, relax, you don't need to do anything, everything is secured, that's a big lie. A new threat might come up today, immediately after the security, that's part of what we call the zero-day malware. A zero-day malware is a malware that has never existed before. So it just pops up. How do you identify this? How do you fight this? Okay, so it's like we'll also talk about that. It's a green vehicle. It keeps moving. So global communication, another opportunity in the cyberspace. We have this global communication, the video calls, instant messaging, social media. It allows us to communicate instantly across the globe. you know but remember, it's also challenging with what information overload. Which do you trust? Which information do you want to throw away? Which information is the truth? That is like a special assignment that you are left with. You are being bombarded with what information, contradictory ones, supporting ones. So we get information from it, but at the same time, we should also know that what it is posing some traits. So the risk in cyberspace, we've talked about all the beautiful things about it. The opportunities, the life in cyberspace is very beautiful. There are a lot of opportunities. Just think it and put it in there, you know. And all thanks to AI again. Yeah, at this point, I would say all thanks to AI, you know. All thanks to AI, it even makes it more easier. So it's just for you to come with an idea and you're actually there. But remember, with the cyberspace, with the internet, comes some risk. For all the benefit, the cyberspace has some risk. The risk of cyber crimes, privacy violations, misinformation, and online harassment. Okay, so when we talk about cybercrime, we mean things like hacking, phishing, ransomware, scams. When we talk about hacking, that is someone getting into your device, you know, using the back door. For every software, for every device, there's something we call the back door. I hope I'm not putting out too many information. Okay. This back door is actually intentionally created, is intentionally put in there for by the developers. you know However, they didn't put it there for the cyber crimes. No, the intention of having these backdoors is for updates, for your software patches. You should think about it. Why do you have just, something pops up and tells you update your software if there is no backdoor? Okay, so there are always backdoors for every system, for every software you're using, right? But unfortunately, the cyber criminals are also using this as an opportunity to get in, to do that, to take care of their attack, right? Then phishing are these unnecessary emails, not unnecessary emails, they are even harmful emails that comes into your phones. It could be a smishing, it could be a phishing, email phishing. Okay, it could be an SMS. You are receiving a phishing email thinking, oh, this is a good message. Congratulations, you have just won whatever beautiful thing, maybe a car, $1 million, and whatever thing that looks beautiful to you, right? Of course, the attacker might have done a good assignment to know what you really love, or possibly what would look real to you. And through phishing, the attacker would get access, sending such emails and a link. And with just one click, that click, we'll talk about it in our next episode. With just one click, it takes you to the attacker's page. And with that, they actually get into the system. Then another very common attack is the ransomware, especially for organizations. You know, just like we have ransoms when there's something like kidnapping that happens, right? People ask for ransom. The same way, attackers always ask for ransom when they get your data, when they get your information. Okay, they do not mind. That information might be encrypted. They don't need it, but you need the information. Okay, so one of the ways that we could help, that you could help with that helps to recover from ransomware is by having a good backup. you know However, that would also be a solution if your only problem with that is what? just them not seeing, just them not having the information. But if it's an information that is usable by the attacker, then that backup might not be the exact solution. Okay, so ransomware is just another way that we could have what is cyber attack. There's scams that happens all the time. Okay, the target here could be an individual, it could be companies, it could be government, and mostly individuals through the normal platforms that we use. The WhatsApp messages, I mean, people kept saying that, oh, I didn't know how my WhatsApp got attacked. Now at least we all know about multi-factor authentication, that yes, we need to have what multiple layers of security. So these are part of ways that what the attackers get in, the risk we face in the cyberspace. Then privacy issues. Privacy is our right, right? But unfortunately, uh, it can be compromised when you are online. Most software got our permission, to get our privacy through our agreement, which I mentioned earlier too. We don't read them. So it's just a thing. The privacy thing is being set up. The agreement is being set up in a way that they know the user is likely to click yes. When we discuss privacy issues with my students, one thing they always tell me is, yeah, but if we don't click yes, we won't use it. So now for clicking every yes, ask yourself, are you ready to sell your privacy? Okay, it is your right. You are releasing it for every click of yes. But are you ready to sell is that software really important to you? Or is it just, I mean, something I just want to have on my phone, right? So you have to really think about this for every click. So just a quick search would bring the whole information about you. That is one thing again that we need to know. Privacy is not what it used to be. Initially, we used to have like our own world. Ah, no, nobody should know where I am even walking. Nobody should know where I am staying. But not with the internet of today. A quick search of your full name, it brings out all your information. Where does she stay? What does she do? Where does she work? And these are information that used to be private. Now, if let's look at it this way, I don't post on social medias, but yet I still have this much information online. Now, let's look at those who voluntarily give out this information to the public. And this public include what? The cyber criminals. By just going through your profile, keep asking yourself, do a random review. What information do you think a cyber criminal, I'm not talking about an ordinary individual, a cyber criminal could get from this information? How do you think this information can be compromised? How vulnerable do you think how it be to the cyber criminal? So this would also be a guide for you to know if this information is necessary for you to put up there. Okay. Another risk we stand to face on the cyberspace is misinformation. Okay, I talked about information spreading so fast. What about misinformation? Fake news spread quickly in cyberspace. And one of our roles, which we'll also still talk about our roles, is we need to learn to verify information before sharing. We should learn it. I mean, this is like a community duty. We want to keep our cyberspace as clean as possible. It is not just a duty of law enforcement. It is not just a duty of security experts. It is you and I's duty to ensure that what we are safe in this digital world. Stop sharing fake information. Stop sharing information that you are not sure of, right? And this actually gives me a kind of a throwback to a particular situation that happened some years. And I mean, there's this country that were having a kind of protest. And what happened was The internet, the cyberspace became a tool for both the protesters and the government. Lot of unverified information started flying around, It's like they took over the Twitter that day. It happened that I was talking about these ethical responsibilities with my students in that week. And that was actually when, I mean, I was in Saudi Arabia, and my students were like, I just asked them, and I asked them randomly, what do you think is the latest news on Twitter? And they all gave me a unified answer. That protest that was going on was not in Saudi Arabia, but they all knew about it. Like, no, we know about this protest. I mean, they've taken over everywhere, and lot of information that were there that was actually making citizens angry with just unverified information. Okay, so this misinformation has lot of harm that it could do to our society, to our environment, that we can even imagine. Then cyberbullying, online harassment, is real and it is harmful. And this is also another call to parents. Please, we need to take note of what our children have access to. We need to know as parents that cyberbullying is real. We give them the phone to have access to games. I mean, they're just playing games. My child doesn't do anything bad. It's just Roblox. Even Roblox had the likes are now becoming a tool for cyberbullies. Okay, so there are different chat forums these kids get involved in. I mean, during when they're having their fun, all they just wanted to do was to have fun. They want to have fun on the cyberspace, they want to have fun online, and they are just playing their games, and they get involved in what chat. We've read stories. I don't want to come up with scary stories here, but unfortunately, yeah, these are actually real. It's happening right in our world. We've seen stories of children even committing suicide because you know someone they're actually chatting with asked them to do it. So it could be that bad. And you might be surprised. Your child is no more, the child that you think the child is. They have a different personality in the physical world. Of course, in fact, it seems almost to every one of us. Yeah. Some of us are the very shy type in our physical world. When we come to the cyberspace, it's like, wow, it's okay. I mean, they're not seeing me, so now I can say anything I want to say, right? So the same way with our children. They could have a different personality in the physical world and have another personality in the cyberspace. So please, we need to be watchful of what they actually do right there. And now, after all this information, let's talk about your role. What is your role? Now you know what you know. What role do we have to play? This is a community fight. This is one role FIRAT has actually taken up. They've given us a platform, and just a kind of a disclaimer, this is not a replacement of a cybersecurity course. If you're planning to go for a cybersecurity degree or anything, please go ahead. We still need more of this. Okay, this is not a replacement to even a certification program. No, but this is an awareness program for individuals, for communities, for organizations. Okay, we need to be aware. The weakest link that we have on the internet in the cyber world is the people. The people using the system are the weakest link. They love to use the system. They know close to nothing about the system. They don't understand the risk behind the system. All they just want to do is to be users, right? So we are not saying we shouldn't use, but we need to be more responsible. We need to be ethical. We need to be security aware. We need to know what is going on behind. Okay? It's not just about the page, it's about what is behind. It is about who might be listening, who might be part of your conversation that you are not seeing. Okay? So these are part of our roles. We need to update our software regularly. There are new attacks coming out every day. Like Like I said, we have what we call the zero-day malware. When software developers find out that we have possibly a new malware, they try to update their software. When you see a notification from a trusted vendor, when you see a notification from a trusted vendor to update your patches, please do. Update your software, update your patches. Use strong and unique password. A password of 12345 6 is not a password. 654321 is not a password. Okay, my name as a password is not a name. Is not a password. Good enough. Organizations now also have password policies. Password policies are there to guide you on what kind of password are allowed. Okay, so it gives room for, okay, you have to have capital letters, you have to have small letters, you have to numbers, special cases. This is helping us what to have what stronger passwords. Okay, then we also have what we call the multi-factor authentication. Your multi-factor authentication is also very important. Your multi-factor authentication is having not just a password. Okay, you could have a biometric, because when we talk about password could come in different forms. Okay, it could be something you know. Something you know is usually your username, your password, okay, your PIN number. These are things that you know. Okay, your password could also come as what something you have, something you own. It could be a token, it could be your phone number, where possibly an SMS is sent into it. So this is something you have, right? And it could also be who you are, which is the biometric, and it's one of the strongest method of what authentication. Okay, so in your authentication method, it could also be what who you are, possibly your iris. It could be what your fingerprint. So all these are part of what authentication method that we can do. Then educate yourself and employees about cyber threats. If you need to stay online, you need to you have to know about it. Don't say this information is not about me. It's for security experts. It's for those who need to protect the world. No, it's the users. It's for the users. This information is majorly for people who are staying online. Yes, we might be talking about few, what is it called, cybersecurity terms, for the experts, but then majorly it's actually educating the public, educating the community. Then back up your data regularly. You might not understand how far a backup could save you as an individual, as an organization. This has happened to so many people. I don't know if there is I wouldn't want to say a kind of a demon that happens when people are writing a project and all of a sudden your laptop goes off. It's like, wow, how do I talk about this? Because yes, in security, it's not just about even a known cyber attack. We also have an unintentional cyber attacks. Your laptop crashing is also a cyber attack. It's an unintentional one, right? It's unintended. How do you recover from this? Backing up your data regularly. If that data is important to you right away as I speak, please go back it up. Okay, so we've had a lot of cases where people lose data. There was a time one of my students here also called me and told me, "Oh, Prof, please, we're having an issue. It's a ransomware, and this." And the first thing I asked was, "What about your backup?" And he said, "The cyber criminals also have access to our backup." And I was like, "How? How?" You don't have a backup. When I say go and backup, you don't have a backup on the same device. No, you do not keep your backup on the same network. That is not a backup. You are just creating another, I don't know, another data. You are mirroring your data. That is all. Okay, you are just mirroring your data. But when we talk about backup, that backup needs to exist on another device, on another network. For example, you could have your original message on your computer, on your phone, and you have your backup on the cloud. Okay, that sounds like a reliable backup. Okay, then install antivirus. Yes, This used to be major security measures about 20, 30 years ago. I remember then too, when you have an antivirus, it's like, wow, my system is secured. Now I can go, I can go and sleep, right? You have an antivirus. Have you bought your antivirus? Once you talk about antivirus, everybody's like, I'm good, right? But unfortunately, antivirus is just one of security measures. So when we talk about security measures now, you would see that everything matters. It's not about you having an antivirus. It's not just about you having a backup. I know, it's okay. My data is good. I have the backup, even if they steal it. No, it's not just about stealing. We're about using it. Do you know what they would use that data for? Right? So you just need to put in as many protections as possible. And this is also another one, implement encryption. Encryption is what presenting your data in unreadable formats. Encryption helps you to store your data in an unreadable format such that if an attacker even have an access to your information, one thing you are rest assured is they do not have access to the real content. They can't read it. They can't actually decipher what does this mean. Okay, so this is also a kind of a protection for you. Now, before I actually move on, I also want to talk about two major uh, what is it called, concepts that organizations especially actually use, and even we as an individual could use in protecting ourselves when it comes to this cyberspace. So one of it is the zero trust architecture. So what do we mean by the zero trust architecture? It's a security framework that operates on the principle of never trust, always verify. Okay, never trust, always verify. And this information tells you that what, no user, device, or network is inherently trustworthy. Nobody is trustworthy regardless of whether it is inside or outside the traditional network perimeter. Oh, this person is within my organization, then you can see everything. No, no, verify. Is this information really coming from the person I that it poses itself to be? Okay. If you get an information, a text message, a phone call, unfortunately, even phone calls now, with AI and everything, everything is like mixing up, so you need to verify, is this information really coming from where I think it is coming from? So that is the zero trust architecture concept. Then we have the least principle of least privilege. What is the principle of least privilege? It's a security concept that restricts users, processes, and system to the minimum necessary level of access that is needed to perform their authorized task. Okay? Before you give someone access to something, do they really need the access? Someone is telling you, someone I trust. Now it is someone I trust. You asked me to give you access to my phone. The question is why? Do you really need it? Does it matter to you? If you want an access, okay, don't worry. I can give you, possibly you want to read a message. I put in my person, okay, read what you want to read and give it back to me. So yeah, we should try to, for organizations, it actually works more for them because yeah, people have authorized tasks that they need to do on the network. So you only give them that least privilege, the minimum privilege, restricts their level of access to what is just needed to perform their authorized task. And this means what, you are only granted the permissions that is required for the specific job and nothing more. Okay, if I need this information to perform this job, you don't have to give me the whole privileges, right? An example is, I want to do this presentation and I just need access to what I want to do. I shouldn't ask for more. I shouldn't ask for more. All I need is, I want to do this presentation. I want to do talking. I can actually do my scrolling and everything. That is all. Giving me extra access, you're already bridging, you're already creating vulnerabilities. Not because you did not trust me, okay? But you can easily open door for someone else who have access to my own account. Okay, so it also helps with our monitoring. It helps, it's not lack of trust. This zero trust architecture and the least privilege is not is not out of maybe, oh no, so does that mean you don't trust me? Does that mean this? No. What you're actually trying to do is you are trying to reduce your attack surface. You're trying to reduce your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities. So that is actually what we are trying to do. And yes, moving on to the future of the cyberspace. The IoT growth, it keeps growing. AI and what the cybersecurity needs. So this is like a continuous need of cybersecurity experts. Like I said all the time, all thanks to AI. Yeah, AI make things easy, but unfortunately, it makes us more vulnerable. It has actually come to increase the need for cybersecurity. Okay, but the only thing is the same approach where we're using possibly to secure the system is not the same approach we're going to use to secure an AI system. Years back, our cybersecurity experts used to sit on the system to monitor what is going on, how the network is going, and they actually look at the conversation. They monitor the network, looking at the traffic. Okay, this traffic looks suspicious. Let's stop this traffic and all that. But with AI, and with the rate at which we communicate today, everything is automated. Even the way we detect, the way we detect suspicious traffic is now being automated. The way we actually respond to suspicious traffic, is being automated. These are things that we would actually discuss, later on, things like our SIEM, our automated detection and response to cyber attacks. So just know that when we look at the future of cyberspace, and also for people who are interested in going for cybersecurity related courses, like I mentioned earlier, I would ask you, please move on. It's a dream that's it's really worth it. It's a journey. When people look at it, people would tell me, even some of my students will ask me, yeah, now that AI is taking all jobs, what's going to happen to cybersecurity? I said, yeah, the good news for cybersecurity experts is AI is even creating more jobs for you. Okay, so it's actually invariably creating more jobs for us, though we are not happy with the attacks. Not like we are so happy that people are being attacked, but it's just the reality that it's giving us more job to do, you know. So there's an increased cybersecurity needs, and yeah. So with this, I would like to say that the cyberspace is our shared digital terrain, and let's keep navigating it safely. Let's enjoy the cyberspace. I'm not saying we shouldn't enjoy it, it's our shared digital terrain. All we need to do is we need to understand it. We need to get all the benefits, and to get all this benefits, we need to understand how can we protect ourselves, how can we protect others, right, from the attacks. And I hope you have actually taken something out from this particular section. And if nothing, please just remember that you need to take the zero trust seriously and the least privilege. Okay, please, if someone do not need an access, do not even give it to them. Okay, if anybody knocks at your door, someone sent a message to you, verify. Someone send you a link, then you need to verify. So, and yeah, I could see that questions have started coming in. So please, we could ask our questions, and I would like to look into that as we move on. And I would also want to say a very big thank you for your attention. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate the audience. Thank you for your patience. So Let's see if we have a question. Good. Yeah. So I have a question here. How do we guide our students, university students, to have a free cyber threat space? Okay. It's a joint effort. It's a joint effort. One of it is having policies, that helps to protect the student space. For example, I mentioned that there are some spaces that even have what is it called? They they have policies for password that tells you that what you have to include the capital letters, small letters, the mixed word. You have to enforce some policies. When you enforce policies, they can't even have access without those policies being followed. So with that, it helps to create a kind of a healthy space, a healthy cyberspace for the students. So that is one. Then another policy you can enforce is to have a multi-factor authentication. Okay, multi-factor authentication, having what different authentication method. You have your password and you have maybe a single sign-on link, a text message being sent to your phone to ensure that to confirm that are you really the person who is actually logging in. So these are actually ways you can enforce. And education, continuous continuously creating what awareness, continuously. It's something we just have to keep telling them. It's something we have to keep reminding them, and with this continuous effort, then we'll find out that what we have, what a healthier space. How do you verify a link without clicking on it? Though next week is, next episode, sorry, not next week. That's so soon. Yeah. So on our next episode next month, we'll be talking about the clicking thing. And what I would like to say for the clicking, especially, is do not click on links. Copy and paste. That is first. Even whether it is coming from a trusted person or not, it is always preferred that what you copy and then you paste. So just keep that in a place then before we now talk about it in more details in our next episode. Nah, shortened links could easily be hidden. You can easily hide something, because one thing that the attackers want to do is they also want to hide their presence as much as possible, right? So it is easier for them to hide their presence in a shortened link than in a full link, right? So it is always better for you to click the full link. Not even click, copy the full link. You copy and you paste. There's a difference between the two. We'll talk about it next week. What is the difference between you copying and pasting? It's the same link, right? But you might be able to see the real message that is hidden in the copied link when you copy and paste than when you just click on the link directly. Yep. You mentioned earlier to review our social media post or profile. How do we know what information is sensitive? What do we look out for? What I would just like to insist on this is post what is important. Every information, trust me, every information is important to the attacker. Trust me. Your name, which of course now somehow almost everyone knows my name. Somehow, with a good click, like I said, just a quick search, you see so many information about me. I can't hide, forever, right? But by giving them any unnecessary information, any other information, this could be gathered, especially when it comes to personal information. Okay. From next episode, I'll also be sharing case studies. Maybe with these case studies, it will also help us understand what kind of information could the attackers actually use, or what have they been using. Okay, but information like your name, like I said, is a general information. Social security number is a no. any social security number, any personal number, your possibly passport number, student ID. Think about any personal information, that identifiable information is a no-no. It should not even go online, right? Then date of birth. Yeah, somehow we actually also celebrate our birthdays, but unfortunately, these are also information that could help the attacker dig in to get more information, right? So we share the date. Yeah, I don't want to go into so much details about that, but yes, these are actually vulnerable informations that could be used by an attacker. The government has a lot of work to do. Yes, when it comes to how can government protect the people from attacks, they have a lot of work to do, and we are yet to get there. In fact, in any part of the world, really, some countries are trying than the others, but we are still yet to get to there, because if the government is taking the full responsibility, right, then the individuals, the communities will have less work to do. But unfortunately, because it's more like we also want to enjoy the freedom, right? In fact, if the government tries to protect the people, I think the people would protest. No, we need the freedom. We want this freedom. We want to enjoy, like, can't we be free? Can't I do anything online? We want to enjoy that freedom, right? So for the government, as much as they have they also want to satisfy the people. They also want to enjoy that. I mean, people also want to enjoy that freedom of, oh yeah, we can navigate on anything, right? So looking at that, so it's like we are holding them in the hands, like they couldn't really move much. However, some countries have also been able to ensure that some few things, because I even forgot to mention this, but I'm sure we'll talk about it next week. Some few things like links without the HTTPS. HTTP, we have HTTP and HTTPS. When we have links that do not have the HTTPS, please, is a no link. Okay, is a no link. So some governments have protected, some organizations also do this, that these links are automatically blocked. They are inaccessible. So in some organizations as well, you'll find out that, oh, I'm not able to access this link. But when you get out of the organization, yeah, they feel, I mean, it's like you are free. You can do whatever thing to your own device, but not on our own network. So it's a way of what protecting the people, blocking what suspicious traits. Then another one is what reporting new attacks as early as possible. Okay, we have so many what is it called, security implementations that is actually also doing very well with this. At least I know of Palo Alto. In few minutes, if a new vulnerability is being detected, Palo Alto would send to all subscribers, they will send it to all their subscribers. So the same way, if the government have a way of what, knowing new vulnerabilities, knowing new malwares, and implementing the security measures across all the country's network. So these are ways, the government could actually help in protecting people from attacks. And continuous education, continuous information, passing the information the same way they pass the information to us that, well, you need to lock your door, you need to you need to be safe in the physical world. The same way we should put in the same effort in telling people on how to be safe in the digital world. So I guess that is all for questions for now. And once again, I would like to thank everyone for joining. And I would also like to use this very golden opportunity to thank all my teachers, yeah, that I've actually gained from. And using this also golden opportunity to thank my very first teacher, that's my mom, you know, and you know, and I pray that may God continue to protect and bless her. So thank you everyone for joining, and I look forward to seeing everyone again in our next episode. And where we'll be talking more on what clicking, and also we'll be looking at some case studies. We'll be sharing some case studies, and yeah, hopefully would have more. Hopefully, I'll be having another guest joining me, and we'll be looking at these cases together. So thank you, and see you in the next episode.
In every corner of the world, voices travel through invisible highways of code and light. We share. We learn. We dream. But in the shadows of this vast, connected world, something else stirs. Silent watchers. Hidden traps. Lies dressed as truth. Every click, every swipe, leaves a trace, a footprint, and sometimes a target. But we are not powerless. We can learn the language of the digital realm. We can read the signs, hear the warnings, and guard what matters most. Welcome to the Watchtower, a place where we rise above the noise, where we see the dangers before they strike, where every citizen becomes a guardian, not just of their own digital life, but of the community we all share. This is the beginning of your watch, the Digital Watchtower. Observation, awareness, protection,